Here at the World Economic Forum in Davos, the newsmakers include many global business leaders, and my next guest is one of Wall Street's most recognizable deal makers. Well, he's John Studzinski, Senior Managing Director at Blackstone Group. John, thank you so much for joining us.
Francine, good morning.
We were just speaking to the CEO of WPP, and it was very interesting. He was talking about the psyche of the CEO, and he can clearly, show a trend that actually they're much more prudent. And this is exactly what you were telling me in terms of how CEOs today approach deal making.
Francine, I think as a result of the last 3 or 4 years where the economic crisis occurred, things slowed down. A new breed of CEO emerged. The new CEO is not M&A oriented. He's actually much more cautious about M&A. He's actually said to his management teams, no more using M&A as a sort of short-term tool. Instead, we're going to learn to run the business, grow the business organically, be much more naturally rigorous about cost management. And where we grow businesses, people's bonuses are going to be actually calculated on the basis of organic growth. But as a result of that, coupled with the buildup of cash, what you do see and what you are going to see continue this year with the rise of M&A activity is the deals that do get done are going to be much more pure play deals, and in many cases they may be more dream deals.
But no mega deals, because CEOs are more prudent and I guess are more accountable because of the crisis.
Well, let's be careful with the word mega deals. $5 billion is not a mega deal in consumer. And as you, of course, consumer right now continues to be a big business in America, in Japan, increasingly in China, and of course, the third biggest consumer market in the world is Brazil.
We spoke last October, and you were telling me that M&A deals would increase by 20%. They increased by 25%. You were right on the money. What happens this year?
I would say it's going to be up closer to the 2007 level. You've got the cash factor, and last year you had a new twist. Over a third of M&A volume last year was driven by emerging markets. Over 130 billion in China, over 100 billion in Brazil, and close to 80 billion in Russia. And I think Martin, a few minutes ago, talked about the things that were happening in Russia with Vindam and with BP. Absolutely right. So you're going to see emerging markets continue. The change in leadership in China is not going to cause a slowdown in M&A activity. Last year there were over 3,000 deals as it related to China.
But this is what, mainly emerging market companies buying each other, or them actually looking to Western companies?
No, these are pure cross-border deals.
Yeah.
And you've got two things going on, and it's very interesting. Many companies have invested in China for a long time. You look at the automotive companies. One of the first automotive companies in China was Volkswagen. But you look at, or Peugeot, for example, we've just spent time this year with Peugeot restructuring their entire footprint in China as it relates to manufacturing and distribution. And with the rise of the domestic capital market in China, you see a lot of consumer-facing as well as manufacturing-oriented companies completely restructuring their domestic operations, in part to appear to be more Chinese, and in part to tap the local financing.
John, I wonder whether you're concerned at all about all this cheap cash slushing around in the emerging markets. Is this fueling some of the M&A which actually maybe is not warranted?
Cheap cash. I love that term. Where do you... Cheap cash meaning...
Just from QE2, it does, there's such a huge equity boost. Does it give companies incentives to go and buy other companies a little bit, without using the word reckless, maybe more freely than they would if these markets weren't growing by so much?
It's a good question, but we can't generalize. The Chinese haven't made very many big international cross-border investments. They've been very careful what they've done so far, and you've seen a few examples of investing in natural resources and financial services, certainly with Standard Bank in South Africa by ICBC. On the other hand, the Indians, I would say the top sort of 5 to 10 Indian corporations are all now robustly looking internationally, and I think you're going to see selective cross-border activity outside of the emerging markets by Brazil. But for the most part, I would say the biggest emerging market outbound M&A country is going to be India.
Interesting. John, thank you so much. John Studzinski there. Pleasure as always.